Hello, my friends. Today we will be continuing Genesis reading by starting Genesis chapter 11. Genesis chapter 11. And the whole earth was of one language and of one speech. And it came to pass that they journeyed from east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said one to another, Go to, let us make brick, and burn them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and slime had they for mortar. And they said, Go to, let us build us a city and a tower, whose top may reach unto heaven, and let us make us a name, lest we be scattered abroad upon the face of the earth. And the Lord came down to see the city of the tower, and which the children of men built. And the Lord said, Behold, the people is one, and they have all one language, and this they begin to do. And now nothing will be restrained from them, which they have imagined to do. Go to, let us go now, and there confound their language, that they may not understand one another's speech. Confound meaning confuse. And so the Lord scattered them abroad from thence upon the face of all the earth, and they left off the building to building the city. Therefore is the name of it called Babel, because the Lord did there confound the language of all the earth. And from thence did the Lord scatter them abroad upon the face of all the earth. These are the generations of Shem. Shem was 100 years old and begat Arphaxad 2 years after the flood. And Shem lived after he begat Arphaxad 500 years and begat sons and daughters. And Arphaxad lived 530 years and begat Shelah. And Arphaxad lived after he begat Shelah 403 years and begat sons and daughters. And Shelah lived 30 years and begat Eber, young. And Shelah lived after he begat Eber 403 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Eber lived 430 years and begat Peleg. And Eber lived after he begat Peleg 430 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years and begat Reu. And Peleg lived after he begat Reu 209 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Reu lived 230 years, and begat Sherug. And Reu lived after he begat Sherug 207 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Sherug lived 30 years, and begat Nahor. And Sherug lived after he begat Nahor 200 years, and begat sons and daughters. This repeats for a while. And Nahor lived 29 years, and begat Terah. And Nahor lived after he begat Terah 119 years, and begat sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years, and begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran. Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begat Abram, Nahor, and Haran begat Lot. And Haran died for his father Terah in the land of his native in Ur and of the Chaldees. And Abram and Nahor took them wives. The name of Abraham's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, the daughter of Haran, and the father of Milcah and the father of Iscah. But Sarai was barren; she had no child. And Terah took Abram his son, and Lot the son of Haran, and his son's son, and Sarai could be Sarah, his daughter-in-law, and his son's Abram's wife, and they went forth with them to Ur of the Chaldees to go into the land of Canaan, and they came unto Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah were 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. Chapter 12. Now the Lord had said unto Abram, Get Get thee out of thy country, and from thy kindred, and from thy father's house, unto a land that I will show thee. And I will make of thee a great nation, and I will bless thee, and make thy name great, and thou shalt be a blessing. And I will bless them that bless thee, and curse them that curseth thee, and in thee shall all families of the earth be blessed. So Abram departed. Abram, I think, is Abraham, but don't quote me on that. So Abram departed, and the Lord had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarah, his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had, substance being property, that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haraz. And they went forth to go unto the land of Canaan, and unto the land of Canaan they came. Oh, forgive me. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Shechem, unto the plain of Merah. And the Canaanite was then in the land. And the Lord appeared unto Abram, and said, Unto thy seed I will give this land. And there built he an altar unto the Lord, who appeared unto him. And he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and Hai on the east. And there he built an altar unto the Lord, and he called upon the name of the Lord. And Abram journeyed, going on still towards the south. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn, which means to live there for a while, to sojourn there. For the famine was grievous in the land. And it came to pass, when he was to come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarah his wife, Behold now, I know thou art a fair woman to look upon. Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see thee, they shall say, This is his wife, and they will kill me, but they will save thee alive. Say, I pray thee, thou art my sister, that it may be well with me for thy sake. For my soul shall live because of thee. And it came to pass that when Abram was come unto Egypt, the Egyptians behold the woman, and that she was very fair. The prince also of Pharaoh saw her, and commended her before Pharaoh, and that the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house. And he entreated Abram well for her sake. And he had sheep and oxen, and he asses, and men servants, and maid servants, and she asses and camels. Basically, he had male and female donkeys, and male and female servants. And the Lord plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues, because of Sarah, Abraham's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram, and said, What is this thou hast done unto me? Why didn't thou not tell me she was thy wife? Why saidst thou, She is my sister? So I may have taken her to me to wife. And therefore, behold thy wife, take her and go thy way. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away with his wife and all that he had. And that was a little confusing. They went to Egypt. I guess he said it was his sister, because if they figured out she was married because she was so beautiful, some men there may want to kill Abraham, so she wouldn't be married and they could marry her. So to alleviate that, he said I guess Sarah's sister. And then when Pharaoh found out, I guess the Pharaoh knew that the plagues was because of this or whatever. And the Pharaoh was like, well, if it's your wife, you should leave. That's how I read it. It's a little confusing, but I that's how it reads. All right, Genesis chapter 13. And Abraham went out of Egypt, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him, into the south. And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. And he went on his journeys from the south, even to Bethel, upon the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Hai, unto the place of the altar which he had made there at the first. And there Abram called on the name of the Lord. And Lot said, which went with Abraham, had flocks and herds and tents. And the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great, and so that they could not dwell together. And there was a strife between the herdmen of Abraham's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle. And the Canaanite and the let's see, Perizzite, yeah, I guess Perizzite, Perizite, dwelt then in the land. And Abram said unto Lot, let there be no strife, I pray thee, between me and thee, that between my herdmen and thy herdmen, for we be brethren. Is not the whole land before thee? Separate thyself, I pray thee, from me. If thou wilt take the left hand, then I will go to the right, and if thou depart to the right hand, I will go to the left. And Lot lifted up his eyes, and beheld all the plain of Jordan, and it was well watered everywhere. I guess it rains a lot. That's what it means. Before the Lord destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of the Lord like the land of Egypt, and thou comest unto Zeor. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves the one from the other. Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent toward Sodom. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before the Lord exceedingly. And the Lord said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him, lift up now thine eyes, and look from the place where thou art northward and southward, and eastward and westward. And the land which thou seest, to thee will I give, and thy seed forever. And I will make thy seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall thy seed also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it, and in the breadth of it. Okay. For I will give it unto thee. Then Abram removed his tent, and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto the Lord. Chapter 14. This one's a long one. And it came to pass in the days of Amraphel, king of Shinar, Arioch, king of Eleazar, and Chedorlaomer, king of Elam, and Tidal, king of nations, that these made wars with Bera, king of Sodom, and with Bersha, king of Gomorrah, Shinab, king of Admah, and Shemeber, king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, which is Zaar. All these were joined together in the vale of Siddim, which is the Salt Sea. I guess it could be Siddim, Siddim. 12 years they served Chedorlaomer, and in the 13 years they rebelled. And in the 14th year came Chedorlaomer, and the kings that were with him, and smote the Rephaims in Ashtaroth, Kernaim, and the Zuzims in Ham, and the Emims in Sheva Kiriathaim. Wow, these names. And the Horites in their mount Seir, unto El Paran, which is by the wilderness. And they returned and came to in Mishpat, which is Kadesh, and smote all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites that dwell in Hazezon Tamar. And there went out a king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeborim, and the king of Bela, which is the same as Zoar. And they joined battle with them Vale of Siddim, with Chedorlaomer, the king of Elam, and with Tidal, king of nations, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, four kings against five. And the vale of Siddim was full of slime pits, which I'm not sure what that means. And the king of Sodom and Gomorrah fled and fell there, and they that remained fled to the mountain. And they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah and all their victuals with their way. And they took Lot, Abraham's brother's son, and who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed. And there came one that had escaped, and told Abram the Hebrew that he dwelt in the plain of Memer, the Amorite, brother of Ishcal, the brother of Aner, and these were accompanied with Abraham, or Abram. My Bible says Abram, but I think it's Abraham. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his trained servants, born in his house, 318, and pushed them unto Dan. What did Dan do? And he divided himself against them, he and his servants by night, and smote them, and pursued them unto Hobah, which is in the left hand of Damascus. And he brought back all the goods, and also brought again his brother Lot, and his goods, and the woman also, and the people. And the kings of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Chedorlaomer, and of the kings that were with him, at the valley of Shavi, which is the king's dale. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High God. And he blessed them, and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High God, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be the Most High God, which hath delivered thine enemies into thy hand. And he gave him tithes of all. And the king of Sodom said unto Abraham, Give me the persons, and take the good to thyself. And Abram said to the king of Sodom, I have lifted up mine hand unto the Lord, the Most High God, the possessor of heaven and earth, that I will not take from a thread even to a shoe latchet, and I will not take anything that is thine, lest thou shouldest weigh. I have made Abram rich, save only that which the young men have eaten, and the portions of the men which went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Memer. Let them take their portion. Genesis chapter 15. After these things, the word of the Lord came unto Abram in a vision, saying, Fear not, Abram, I am thy shield and thy exceeding great reward. Abram said, Lord God, what wilt thou give me, seeing I go childless, and the stewardess of my house is the Eliezer of Damascus? And Abram said, Behold, me thou hast given no seed, And lo, one born in my house is mine heir. It basically is my servant. And behold, the word of the Lord came unto him, saying, This shall not be thine heir, but he that shall come forth out of thine own bowels, basically out of his own body, shall be thine heir. And he brought him forth abroad and said, Look now towards heaven, and tell the stars if thou be able to number them. And he said unto them, So shall thy seed be. And he believed in the Lord, and he counted it to him for righteousness. And he said unto him, I am the Lord that brought thee out of Ur and of Chaldees, to give thee this land to inherit it. And he said, Lord God, whereby shall I know that I shall inherit it? And he said unto him, Take me an heifer of 3 years, and a she-goat of 3 years old, and a ram of 3 years old, and a turtle dove and a young pigeon, and a heifer, I'm guessing, meaning a female ox or cow. And he took unto them all these, and divided them in the midst, and laid each piece one against another. And the birds divided he not. And when the fowls came down upon the carcasses, Abram drove them away. And when the sun was going down, a deep sleep fell upon Abram, and lo, an honor of great darkness fell upon him. And he said unto Abram, Know of a certainty, know of a certainty that thy seed shall be a stranger in a land that is not theirs, and shall serve them, and they shall afflict them 400 years. And also that nation whom they shall serve will I judge, and afterward shall they come out with great substance. And thou shalt go to thy father in peace, and thou shalt be buried in a good old age. But in the 4th generation they shall come hither again, for the iniquity of the Amorites is not yet full. Basically punishment. And it came to pass that when the sun went down and it was dark, behold, a smoking furnace, and the burning lamp that passed between the pieces. In the same day the Lord made a covenant with Abram, saying, Unto thy seed have I given this land, from the river of Egypt unto the great river, the river Euphrates, the Kenites, and the Kenizzites, and the Cadmonites, and the Hittites, and the Perizzites, and the Rephaims, and the Amorites, and the Canaanites, and the Girgashites, and the Jebusites. Let's see here. Alright. Genesis chapter 16. Now Sarah, Abraham's wife, bare him no children, and she had a handmaid, an Egyptian, whose name was Hagar. And Sarah said unto Abraham, Behold now, the Lord hath restrained me from bearing. I pray thee, go unto my maid. It may be that I may obtain children by her. And Abraham hearkened to the voice of Sarah. Listen, basically. And Sarah, Abraham's wife, took Hagar her maid, the Egyptian, after Abram had dwelt 10 years in the land of Canaan, and gave her to her husband Abram to be his wife. And went unto Hagar, and she conceived. And when she saw that she had conceived, her mistress was despised in her eyes. And Sarah said unto Abraham, My wrong be upon thee. I have given my maid unto thy bosom. And when I saw that she had conceived, I was despised in her eyes. The Lord judged between me and thee. But Abram said unto Sarah, Behold, thy maid is in thy hand. Do to her as it pleaseth thee. And when Sarah dealt hardly with her, she fled from her face. And the angel of the Lord found her by a fountain of water in the wilderness, by the fountain of the way of to Shur, Shur. And he said, Hagar, Sarah's maid, whence comest thou, and whither wilt thou go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarah. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Return to thy mistress, and submit thyself under her hands. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, I will multiply thy seed exceedingly, and it shall not be numbered for multitude. Basically, too many to count. And the angel of the Lord said unto her, Behold, thou art with child, and thou shalt bear a son, and I shall call his name Ishmael, because the Lord hath heard heard thy afflictions. And he will be a wild man. His hands will be against every man, and every man's hand against him. And he shall dwell in the presence of all the brethren. And she called the name of the Lord that spake unto her, Thou God seest me. For she said, Have I here looked after him that see me? Wherefore the well was called Beer Lahai. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. And Hagar bare Abraham's son, and Abraham called his son's name, which Hagar bare, Ishmael. And Abraham was 86 years old. That would be 86 years old, when Hagar bare Ishmael to Abraham. That's all for today. Thank you for watching. If you like these videos, please subscribe, click that notification bell, and also save the playlist for when I release more videos like this. Until next time, goodbye, and God bless.